Hey guys, welcome back to Beyond Dafeet. In this video you're going to be seeing the Glycerin getting compared to a few other max cushion shoes. You won't be seeing the Ghost or the Pegasus 37. In this video we'll do a more in-depth video on them both separately. If you haven't seen our video on the Glycerin 18 versus 17, go over and check that out. Jumping into it quickly, versing the Clifton, very similar shoes. You got a rocker sole on the Clifton as far as the midsole goes. Durability wise, you're going to get about 200 k's less that you do in the Clifton compared to the Glycerin. Green rubber, you got a lot more outsole underneath your foot on the Glycerin as well. Moving on to the midsole, kind of going to sink into both of these quite nicely. If you want something that's just a nice kind of slog around shoe, I'd be picking the Clifton up, nice daily trainer. If you want to do a bit of everything in a shoe, look at the Glycerin. So it does have a slightly bit more response to it than the Clifton. Uppers are a massive difference. So with your Clifton, you got a lot of depth to the shoe. If you've got quite a slender foot, it's not going to fit around your toe box at all. And you're probably going to take a half size down in the Clifton compared to the Glycerin. Glycerin's a nice snug fit, quite shallow, runners fit throughout. Both heel counters lock in quite well. But yeah, if you do have a slightly narrower foot, bit more of a slender foot, look at the Glycerin out of these two. Moving on to the 1080, these are quite comparable. Probably one of the best uppers in the game with both of these. The Hypo Knit in the 1080, probably my favourite upper in the last 5 years, really locks down the foot well. Main difference with these is your outsoles, midsoles are quite similar, we'll get onto that. So with your air-blown rubber underneath your forefoot, you're going to get a slight bit more wear there if you do experience that forefoot wear. You do have your endurance carbon rubber at the heel as well as your toe off, whereas your Glycerin is using that green rubber the whole way through, so durability, you're going to get a slight bit longer out of that Glycerin as far as the outsole goes. Midsole's quite comparable as far as feel goes underneath the foot. They do kind of offer that nice plushness, a nice ride the whole way through your runs, and they do give a bit of response. So both of these shoes you can easily use for kind of those everything runs. If you want to go out for a slog, they work well. If you want to pick up the pace, they're still light enough to do that. And as I touched on before, with the uppers, both fit pretty similar. I'd take both same size in either of these, and they just fit very nice here in the heel, midfoot and forefoot. If you do want slightly bit more cushioning around your heel, go for the Glycerin, whereas the Newbalance 1080, they have a good heel counter, but there's just not a whole lot of cushioning there. Now comparing it to the Triumph 17, you've got a lot more kind of plushness around the whole shoe on the Triumph. Outsoles pretty similar. You got a kind of two different systems that kind of do the same job. So your crystallized rubber by Saucony, very very durable. You got your XT900 carbon rubber in your main wear spots, so very similar compound that's used in the Glycerin. Outsoles are going to wear about the same, about 1000 k's in both. Now with the midsoles, you got your thermoplastic units in your Triumph, so it's going to be the same cushioning system for longer. If you do experience kind of different temperatures where you live, so cold climates, if you're hotter climates, this is going to keep durability and keep response over the life of the shoe. And whereas just your stock standard EVA DNA lock by Brooks can just compress a bit longer when it gets into the later stages of the shoe. Yeah, both very good as far as underneath the foot goes. You got a lot of cushioning in both. Yeah, like if you picked up either of these, you couldn't really go wrong. Main difference is you got a lot more streamlined upper on the Glycerin. There's not a lot less padding going on over the upper, whereas the Glycerin's got a nice kind of marshmallow feel over the whole shoe. So you got a lot of foam and comfort over the top of your shoe, which does lack a bit of breathability, whereas you got a nice kind of airflowy upper with the Glycerin. Can't go wrong with either of these shoes. Yeah, doing a comparison to the Novablast, this is kind of marketed as a max cushion daily trainer, but you'd probably only get probably 3/4, if not kind of a bit less than that durability compared to your Glycerin. Just the outsole's the main difference. You got a whole lot of less rubber, which reduces the weight in the Novablast. I'm just not sure how that AHA Plus rubber is going to hold up when it comes to a bit longer into the shoe's life. But your green rubber, a lot more durable in the Glycerin. Moving on to your midsoles, so you do have like a nice bouncy midsole in the Novablast, but they'll probably collapse in the first 200 k's. A bit more durability as far as the actual cushioning goes in the Glycerin. If you want something that lasts a bit longer in the life of the shoe, look at the Glycerin, or if you want kind of a bouncier tempo shoe, looking at this as a max cushion shoe, probably just won't get the durability for your bang for buck out of this one. Uppers, Glycerin's got a lot better upper on it. Nice airy, flowy upper in the Novablast. Just the lockdown isn't as good as the Glycerin. Yeah, the heel locks a lot better in the Glycerin. And yeah, out of these two, I'd be looking at this guy just because how durable it's going to be, and just it fits a lot better. And if you do have a slight bit of instability in your gait cycle, this will just straighten you up a bit more than the Novablast. Now comparing old boy to the Glycerin 18, both pretty similar goals for each brand. Your Glycerin has a lot less going on in the shoe that achieves the exact same goal, if not a bit better. Durability wise, like the outsoles are going to wear pretty much the exact same. Both of them have a good compound in them. You're not going to wear through them any spot that quickly. Slightly bit more flex grooves in the Nimbus, so if you do want that slightly bit more of a flexy toe off, I'd choose the Nimbus. Outsole's pretty decent. Moving on to your midsoles. So whereas Asics has like 3 or 4 components in their midsole trying to do the exact same job, Glycerin 18 just uses that one-piece DNA loft that does the exact same thing, if not better. Reduces a lot of weight and there's no adhesive going on in the midsole. Whereas you got your gel at the rear of the foot, Trussic, flight foam propel. This needs a lot less going on than Nimbus. As far as what's running underneath your foot, I'd be looking at the Glycerin. Uppers, pretty decent on both. Probably a slightly bit more tapered on your big toe and your Nimbus. So if you do have a toe that kind of points straight ahead, I'll be looking at the Glycerin. It's got a slightly bit more rounder of a toe box. Lockdown on both very good. Your Nimbus uses a slightly bit more of a V-shaped heel, so if you want something that locks you in, it's slightly better at the heel. You've got quite a skinny ankle and Achilles. Look at your Nimbus. Glycerin is a bit lighter, so if you want basically the same shoe and it's better cushioning system over the life of it, a lot less going on in the midsole, whereas Asics Nimbus 22 is just a bit outdated. Look at the Glycerin out of these two. It's going to be a lot better of a shoe and it's just a lot more simplistic as far as the same shoe goal is. Quick wrap up on the Glycerin 18 itself. Great shoe as far as a max cushion neutral shoe goes. Going to be able to hold up to a lot of the Ks. Probably end up seeing a kind of fatigue around at 800 Ks. You'll be done at 1000 Ks. Keeping it simplistic by Brooks. DNA loft makes it nice and soft underneath the foot. Takes a lot of that stress out from the bones and muscles. And the upper fits nice and snug. Nice midfoot lockdowns. Kind of got that half booty fit, so slightly detaches just kind of in the end of your midfoot area. Good cushion lockdown over the heel. They've definitely dialed this in, keeping it simplistic and not kind of fixing anything that wasn't broken in the last ones. As I said previously, we'll have this compared to the Ghost 13 when we get it in Australia, as well as the Pegasus 37. We haven't got those arrived yet since everything's going on. If you like what we've done here today, hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell thing, and give us one of them ones, and we'll see you in another video.